From the News Channel 5 Network, this is MorningLine.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on MorningLine. I am Nick Beres. It is 8 o'clock. It is Thursday. It is time for open phones. Got it right here. Ready to rock and roll. The phone, I'm not going to pick that receiver up. We're going to take the call straight through the phone, right live onto the air, 737-7587. As you know, Thursdays, we just set the table for you and lay out a lot of the news of the week and what's happening up to the moment, and invite you guys to jump in, join in the conversation. The line's open now, 737-7587, so you can jump in. But let me set it for you. Let's get to some of the top stories. One of the top stories we were following this morning, and it just goes to the larger issue of why these things just keep happening, and is there anything you can do to prevent it, is down at Florida State. By now you've probably heard. Gunman went on campus around midnight last night, made his way to the heart of the campus and went into the library, shot 3 people before he was confronted by law enforcement, turned the gun on them. There was a shootout. Police killed him. The 3 that were shot in the library, in addition to the gunman, are all alive, being treated at a nearby hospital. 1, though, in critical condition. The motive for this, we have no idea. No idea yet on the motive. Police have not yet said if the individual shot were students, though I think that's probably a safe assumption to make. We don't know anything about the gunman. There's going to be another news conference today at 2 o'clock, and we'll certainly have the details coming from that. But I mentioned that just, it's scary. Guns on campus, incidents like this happening. Especially if there's one place, you really hope people are safe. And this is some amazing video of the students in the library being warned over the loudspeaker that there's a gunman in the library. Don't move, take cover. But it's to me, the safety should be at schools, universities, high schools, middle schools. And yet that's where a lot of these incidents happen. And just very scary. So I thought I'd throw that out for you if you want to comment on that. Other stories. Boy, there are a lot of things to talk about this morning that I wanted to touch bases on the national scale, too. Let me ask you this about Bill Cosby. I know many of our younger viewers may not be as familiar with Bill Cosby. I literally grew up with the man. Of course, the Cosby Show was huge for a long period of time there. And now, not 1, not 2, not 3, but at least 5 women have come forward saying that Bill Cosby, at one point or the other, sexually assaulted them in the past. There were never any charges filed. All of these things happened in the distant past, if indeed they did even happen. Statute of limitations have expired. But Bill Cosby has not said anything about it. And I want your take on that. I mean, Hollywood has already given up on Bill Cosby. I'm reading here that all these projects he had in the works have been canceled. NBC has canceled the planned show. TV Land is pulling reruns on the Cosby Show. He is, however, continuing to do his stand-up comedy tour. And it's interesting here as well. Bill Cosby will be in Tennessee just 2 weeks from now. The actor is going to be serving as a special guest for Freed-Hardeman University's 50th benefit dinner on December 5th. The Church of Christ affiliate university has said in the past that Cosby was chosen because of his appeal to the alumni. And as I said, many of us grew up. I loved Bill Cosby. I've seen him in concert. He's a funny man, but these allegations are very disturbing, and he hasn't answered them. And I wonder if he's still going to be in line to show up for that dinner at the university. I would not be surprised if something along those lines changes in that regard. All right, one other thing I wanted to throw out there, and there are a few others, but this one's more local. University of Tennessee, of course, you saw the football team has suspended 2 players, star linebacker A.J. Johnson and a sophomore defensive back, because of their named suspects in a rape of a student there. My understanding is at this point there have not yet been any charges filed, but out of an abundance of caution, they've suspended the players for now to see how this plays out. A lot of the student leaders there at the university are now stepping forward and are angry because they see victim blaming occurring here. And I see this time and again, be it the Ray Rice case, be it some of these sexual assault cases, this one, where they say, well, the woman put herself in that position. What was she thinking? Oh, I mean, gosh, why was she doing this? Look, in some of these cases, could poor judgment have been used by the victims in these cases? Maybe, I don't know. But poor judgment, is that a reason to say, well, she was dumb to go there and she got raped, she deserved it? Come on, that's what I think I'm hearing sometimes, where people step up and say, well, what was she doing in that athlete's room in the middle of the night? I mean, what was she thinking? Who cares? Because she goes to an athlete's room does not give an athlete the right to rape her. I'm not saying that's what happened here. These football players have not yet been charged, but they've been named as suspects. But even before all this now, people tend to blame the victims. And I just don't get it. I don't get it. And a lot of times, and I'm not, in general, it's these athletes. Everyone makes excuses for these ridiculous athletes that commit horrible crimes and think they can walk away from it. I mean, it just makes me sick. I'm tired of it. Don't go around victim blaming, okay? I'm sorry, I don't want to hear it. I don't care how bad a judgment someone may have used in a situation that got them into a pickle where then they became victims of crime. Because you make a poor judgment call, give someone else the right, and you're the one to blame for being assaulted? Come on. I don't know who thinks that way, but if you do, better stop and think for a moment, because one of these days you may well be a victim, and see how you'd feel about it when someone says, well, what were you doing walking down there? You should have known better. Come on. Dumb, dumb, dumb. I'm tired of victim blaming. It rests on the person who committed the crime. End of story. End of story. Couple other items I want to throw out your way. Mary Elena has done a great job of just throwing some items out here. Woodland Hills. Did you see where they've made the announcement now that some of the escapees from that huge story where Woodland Hills, all these teens escaped, that they're going to be sent off to Texas now to be housed. Remember this video and these kids running wild and assaulting the officers there on the scene? Well, some of them now are going to be sent to Texas. Let's see, my understanding is the boys range from 15 to 17 years of age. Officials with DCS say that they're going to be sent to a detention center in Brownswood, Texas, more than 800 miles away. It's better equipped to handle their needs. We've already heard from at least one parent of one of these youngsters saying he can't believe no one here can help rehabilitate his son. I understand where he's coming from in the sense that, yes, I can't believe we don't have the resources here to deal with it. I understand that. But I don't have any sympathy with the fact that, oh, my son's being sent to Texas now. Your son was bad news to begin with, a 3-time felon. And then your son's involved in this escape. And now I don't want to hear any complaints from the parents about how they don't think they should be sent there. Sorry, send them. See ya. Hope you can get rehabbed over there if they have the program to do it. And we don't want you back until you get your act together. That's my take. Those guys are out of control there. And I personally think they need to tighten things up and get stuff in place here in Tennessee so we can deal with these kids in a more structured manner. But if they need to send them off, fine. I don't want to hear from the parents complaining about it. I just don't. Let's see. Before we start getting to the phone lines, a couple other items here that we might want to touch bases on. This didn't surprise me too much, but have you seen extra work near the baseball park that's going to be built for the Sounds behind us now is going to add some $5 million to the price. Tennessean article here says construction of a new stadium for the Nashville Sounds has spurred a projected $5 million in additional city spending to cover new water lines, electrical lines, and paving that aren't already factored into the project's overall price tag. Isn't that the way it always happens, folks? They try to lowball you with the project up front because then you think, oh, wow, that sounds like a great deal. Let's do it. And once you're into it and there's no turning back, oh, by the way, we need another $5 million to pay for paving. How on earth was that not part of the original price tag? I don't know. I know some of you are going to have some thoughts on that because that's frustrating. All right, table is set. I've got a lot of other things to talk about, but I invite you guys to join in the conversation. The number 737-7587. We'll take a call or two before we go to the break. The lines are filling up, but there's still some open, so jump in. Whatever you want to talk about. Who did you say we should go to first, Mary? Mary? Hello? Who? Cindy? Cindy, good morning.
When you said Mary, I was surprised.
Oh, no. Cindy, it's you. Go ahead.
Okay, I guess you're forgetting. No, I just have a couple of comments I want to throw on the plate.
Okay.
Yesterday, I've been nagging my cousin to get a shingle shot. He's 68 years old. So I'm taking him, finally find where you can get shingle shots at the drugstore.
Shingles. You're talking shingles. A shot for shingles.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Well, because you've seen people with shingles, man.
Yeah, it's painful. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And they used to say how the shingle shots were free.
Yeah.
He's a retired federal worker, and he has the best insurance. He has not only Medicare, but he also has his Blue Cross. Well, guess what? No insurance anymore covers shingle shots or Medicare.
Really? When did that change?
What they said? Well, and this was the third time we heard it because I kept, nah, this can't be serious. And the doctor's saying, no, we don't carry it. You know, maybe the pharmacies do.
Do you know how much a shot is? Shingle shot?
$237.
Wow. Wow. And, you know, getting the shot to prevent it saves a lot more medical bills later if you get shingles. See, that's that. Usually these shots are covered, and with good reason, because they prevent the illness, right? So I wonder if that's the case. If someone's listening that has some info, I don't know the answer to that. If you're sure it's not covered, so he had to pay for it, or I guess he's not getting the shot because he doesn't want to pay that money.
Well, no, it's just ridiculous when they used to say, go get your shingle shots, you know,
Yeah.
be like $10 or $20.
Yeah.
But then I noticed the same thing with my 84-year-old dad. I go get his medicine every month. Well, last month, it only cost me about $10 for 5 bottles of pills. Guess what it cost me this time?
How much?
Almost $100.
Yeah.
They're all generic.
Yeah, that's expensive, man. Everything's going up. You hear about it all the time. Well, what was your second comment, or was that it?
That was it. I was just telling you that I feel sorry for anybody wanting to get the shingle shot.
Hey, listen, I feel sorry for anyone who has to pay for a lot of these pills that they simply can't afford. Thanks for your call. Listen to this story. When you talk about insurance and costs, this was in the news. A little girl is being called the $1 million baby. That's because her Canadian family now is facing a $1 million bill from an American hospital after welcoming the premature infant. Now, this little girl was born premature while her mother and dad were on vacation in Hawaii. So apparently, mom was pregnant. They decided to leave Canada to go for a nice warm vacation in Hawaii. Well, the little girl's doing fine now, but she had to be in intensive care for 2 months in Hawaii, and her mother on bed rest for 6 weeks. Okay, that happens. Now that the family's back in Canada, the family learned that their travel insurance, Blue Cross, will not pay the $950,000 bill that it took for all that time on bed rest and intensive care. There's the little baby. Thank goodness she's okay. But you know, I gotta say, if you're pregnant and you're traveling out of country and you recognize the possibility that you might give birth, it might be a good idea before you go to double check and make sure that your insurance will cover the care if you give birth in another country. Again, did they think it through? Is this right? I think that bill's absurd, and I think it's unfortunate, but maybe you want to check on that. The circumstances are enough that, yeah, I'm pregnant, I'm leaving the country, I might give birth in another country, I do have insurance, but that's in Canada. Maybe you want to check on that before you go. So, while I feel sorry for them getting handed this huge bill, at the same time, I don't have all that much sympathy. Think about it before you go. You're going to another country. Maybe your insurance won't work. That's my thought. All right, listen. Number 737-7587. We got several calls, got a couple lines open. Whatever you want to talk about, news of the week, let's jump in. Love to hear from you. We'll be back with more right after this.